So we're going to turn our attention a little further afield here. So we have the Online News Act coming on now, and the Canadian Radio Television Commission, the CRTC, one of the most evil conceptions ever to be brewed out of Ottawa, has now said that they've met with publishers, and they've decided that under this new act, the CRTC, which is an arm of the federal government, gets to determine if a newsroom can show it's a credible news organization that would benefit from all the new round of free money coming. Mm-hmm. So we have Bill C-18. I'm actually flying out to Ottawa early next week to testify at the Senate, to do my best to, if not kill the bill, at least try to minimize how terrible it will be for independent publishers like the Western Standard. But this bill is supposed to confiscate money from Google and Facebook and give it to publishers because Google and Facebook helped us get our content in front of people. I still could barely wrap my mind around the bizarre reasoning of the bill. But to determine who gets to have any of this money, for example, the federal government has to say, well, who's eligible for all the so-called free money? Well, they're going to have to, again, get into further, the feds go deeper into the business of determining who's a newsroom. And that means also dictating a journalism code of ethics that has to be met by otherwise independent news organizations. Nigel, you've been around the news business for a long time. Calgary Herald, a number of other regional, local publications in the West.
Goes back nearly 50 years, actually.
I was trying not to date you here, yeah. But I don't know. What's your reaction, just as a journalist, to the idea that the CRTC gets to define who's a credible newsroom and what your code of ethics is going to be?
Well, look, the basic thing is, does anybody have the right to report and comment? If you go downtown, you go to and you see something, do you, as a Canadian citizen, whether you work for a newspaper or not, do you have the right to tell somebody else what just happened? The answer is yes, of course you do. So,
but the issue is now, because now it's money. This is the federal government handing out dollars.
Exactly.
And so the feds aren't going to say, well, Joe Blow with a blog or a Twitter account, we're not stopping him from saying something. But if he wants to get free money from Ottawa, taken from Google and Facebook, well, he's going to have to do these certain things. And that means we get to decide who's a credible news organization, and you have to comply with the code of ethics.
Well, I kind of doubt that the CRTC is actually relishing doing this, but the law is going to be that in order to be eligible for the money, you have to have a code of journalism standards and practices and ethics. And I suppose the CRTC feels the need to make sure that everybody has the same set of rules. As long as the National Post isn't supposed to have the same set of rules as the Toronto Star, but that's actually the kind of dilemmas that they are going to face. And in the absence of a national organization setting those standards, the CRTC will by default come up with them. My problem with this, apart from just the whole principle of it, is that this is about the government has been trying to get into the news media and regulate it. You said I've been in the business a long time. I've been in before even the Kent Commission was called, and that was 1980. And that was about newspaper concentration of ownership. But somehow they made it about content as well and trying to set standards, and that's why we have press councils. Different subject, but it's government control of the press. They tried it then. They keep coming back, trying to find different ways. And their goal ultimately will be to say, you are a journalist and you are not. You can have a public voice. You can't.
That sounds like a certain person running for the Premier of Alberta.
Well, since you mention it.
Yeah. Okay, Corey. So, it's an inescapable fact that journalism is now a highly regulated industry. When I decided to refound the Western Standard back in the summer of 2019, one of the biggest reasons I picked journalism was that it was a virtually unregulated industry. There was virtually nothing. 3.5 years later, and we're almost dairy farmers. Like we are, this is clearly they're cartelizing the industry. It is being hyper regulated. Soon they'll have us doing the equivalent of dumping out milk, surplus milk here. But it keeps on going further and further. And it's all about attaching dollars to things. For the most part, it's all about attaching dollars.
And why do they attach dollars? It's for the sake of control.
Yeah, it's because
if you don't follow the line, you don't get the money.
Because they can't outright come out and just ban inconvenient media that is critical of the government and perhaps outside of the Laurentian mainstream. They can't ban it constitutionally. But what they can do is try to have the government manipulate algorithms, Bill C-11, to promote government-friendly content, downgrade government-not-friendly content, and even more powerfully, fund and make economically prosperous pro-government media and try to bankrupt anti-government media.